Amy from Whiteacres, and I help businesses make sure that their business image does justice to whatever it is they do by making them look just as good as what they offer, so people can see how fabulous that really is. On Tuesday, I spoke at the Inspire Network meeting about how to be consistent at every touch point, so I thought today I'd do a streamlined version of that. I like to say that branding is the experiences, perceptions, memories and emotions that people have of your business, whether they've met you or not. I think that that's quite scary. That means that people are connecting with your business when you're not around and you're not there to clarify for them what it is that you stand for. So you might not be in control of the impression that they have. So today is about getting back in control, being in charge and taking responsibility for the impressions that people have about your business. Your brand and your business should support each other because branding needs to be at the heart of your business to make sure that you're communicating effectively. Brand values are one of the many things that you need to look at to work out what your brand stands for and what you want to communicate. A survey by Research Business International found that most companies share these same values: quality, openness, innovation, individual responsibility, fairness, respect for the individual, empowerment, passion, flexibility, teamwork and pride. So I think it's fair to say that if you use these values, then your business won't really be unique. But if there's one or two that really stand out and really fit with your business, then that doesn't mean that you shouldn't use them. I've got a sheet for you to download, which you can use to help you work out what your values are. And this sheet doesn't have quality on it because that's the answer I get the most and not the most helpful answer. I need you to dig a bit deeper than that. So this should help you to figure out what your values are. These should be things that you already believe in, that you're going to find quite easy as a person to communicate to people. This is about what your business is. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel by saying we want to be like this and stand for these things. You're saying this is what we do stand for. We just need to do it more consistently and maybe do it a bit better. So what you need to do is go through the list, and there's 2 sides, lots of words, and work out which words you think really represent your business, and then just keep honing down until you're left with 3 to 5 words that really communicate what it is that your business stands for. And this might take you a while, so don't worry if it does. You might need to go away and leave it and then come back again. And then you'll have these 3 or 5 words that are going to really help you to work out what it is that you want to communicate about your business. So yeah, once you've done that, then you need to work out what your touch points are. It's really important to look at every single one to make sure that they're being really consistent with your business image. Touch points are the moments when people connect with your business. It's not just going to be visual things, and you need to try and be as specific as possible. If you can identify these, then you're part of the way to bring them back control. So you can just make a list. I've got one here. So here's some examples. There's you are part of your business. Your business card, your website, your blog, any social media that you use, any website directories that you're in, phone calls, voicemails, emails, your email signature, email newsletter, follow-ups, autoresponders, other people talking about you. How can you be in control of that and get that to be consistent? Where you actually work, especially if people actually visit it, it needs to be in line with your brand. Any printed literature you've got, like postcards or pull-up banners or leaflets, especially stuff that you give away, that you're not there when people pick it up off tables or whatever. Your invoices and quotes and your paperwork, your 60-second pitch, and even down to things like your phone cover, because you can get those branded now, and that could be the start of a conversation. So after that, it's really important to think about how you can be consistent in each of these areas. And being consistent doesn't mean that you have to be really, really boring. Google is the same every day, but it's also wildly different. So it's about being creative with your consistency to get the message across. Being consistent will help people to recognise, remember and trust you. It'll differentiate you from others, and it'll give clarity to your prospects and your customers and show them how reliable you are. It's about impressing people so that they want to know more about your business and helping them to get you. If someone comes to you from one platform and then goes to another, say they found you on Twitter or Facebook and they've clicked on a link to get to your blog, so they're on your website, then they should feel like they're in pretty much the same place. The message should be the same consistent message and the same sort of feel. It should be to them as if they're still in your house, they've just walked into a different room. How many times does someone need to see your brand and recognise it as yours before they take action? It's so important to get that consistency right. So to be consistent, you need to set guides. I prefer the word guides to rules because then, they don't have to be really rigid. But these don't have to be complex. You can make them as simple or as thorough as you like. So things that you need to consider when you're creating these guides to be more consistent are your logo, which is the most obvious part of your brand, but it isn't the only part. You will probably be plastering it everywhere though, so make sure that you're happy with how it looks now and how well it communicates what you're all about, and then set some guides. So some things to think about when you're creating guides for your logo are the minimum size. If say you're sponsoring something, then you want to make sure that if someone's going to print it really tiny at the bottom of a leaflet, it's still going to be legible. So you need to decide what that smallest size point is. Also, can you split it up, or can you use the elements separately or not? Say if your logo is text with a picture on top, are people allowed to take the picture part of it and use that elsewhere as a brand element? Positioning is also really important. Do you want your logo to always appear on the bottom right, or always appear on the top left, or wherever? Clearance space around your logo so that it's not being confused by anything else that's clashing with it. How are you then going to measure that space to make sure that it's the same every time, no matter what size your logo is? And also creating a hierarchy. You might have different versions of your logo. You might have rectangular logos and square logos for social media. You might have your logo in colour or grayscale or in mono, and you need to decide which one is the most important one and which other ones can be used, but only when the ones above it can't be, and create some kind of family tree, I suppose. So one of the other things, of course, is colour, which if you know anything about me, you know that colour is really, really important. You see a colour before you see a shape or a word. If you think about those little quizzes that you get where there's the words of colours all written out, and like pink might be written in orange or black might be written in purple, and you have to say the word instead of the colour, and that can be really, really hard. Colour has a really subtle effect on people, and they'll form an emotional reaction before they see anything else. Did you know that 90% of instant decisions are based on colour only? It's really important to choose the right colour and the right shade or tone for your business. So check out the 11 colour series and then select a colour palette which works well together and use these colours as your main colours. Obviously also creating a guide for those as well. Another thing to consider is typeface. The typeface that you use will affect the opinion that people form of your business. You don't want to use something that's completely wildly inappropriate. So if you're really sensible, traditional, serious sort of business, you don't want to use something really wacky. Whereas if you're someone really wacky, you don't want to use a typeface that is really, really, really simple and boring. So you need to make sure you use something which fits your business. So think really carefully about that. You need to choose something that people can read as well. If you've got a paragraph of text, it's really important not to choose a font that makes their eyes go all funny before they get to the end, because they won't finish reading it. And you also need to set rules about which typeface you're going to use for your business. You might have one for your main text and another for headings. You might use italics for quotes and bold to highlight things. You might use one font in one colour, and your heading might need to be 4 points bigger than your body copy at all times. So aside from those things, you need to think about your brand elements, and these work alongside everything else to support your brand and can include things like patterns, like the pencils I often have in the background pictures that go with these videos, illustrations, graphics, symbols, maybe to show different elements of your business, signatures, photos, the style of those photos and illustrations. Are they going to be in black and white or colour? Are you going to have a white background or not? Is there always going to be some red in the photograph? That kind of thing. And also the tone of voice that you're going to use when you're writing. Are you going to be really conversational, or are you going to be really serious? So again, you need to set some guides so that you know what to use and when, and then stick to them. And these should be obviously in your brand colours and using the typefaces that you've already chosen. And then the last thing to think about is the senses. It's worth considering these, especially for the non-visual items on your touch point list. So you need to think about smell, touch, taste, sight and sound, and how you can maintain your brand with these elements. This might mean using textured paper, making sure that your office smells inviting and pleasant, having really appropriate music on in the background. I was at Frankie and Benny's this morning. I don't know if you've ever been there, but they always have the same style of music playing when you go. They've really thought that through. Maybe you've got a noisy fridge in the corner and you need to get that fixed up because it's just really annoying. Or maybe you need to tidy a massive pile that you don't want people to see. Or maybe it's even just provide cakes or biscuits that have your logo on. And this is all part of the brand experience. And I wrote a blog post just about senses not that long ago, which I'll put a link in the post which you can read. So once you've worked out your values and your touch points and you've set rules for how you're going to be consistent, then you need to be able to implement everything. There are some really handy online tools for this, which I have to admit I haven't tried myself, but I've heard really great things about Canva and PicMonkey, which are great for combining photographs and graphics and words and things like that, and also GIMP, which is a bit like Photoshop. And there's also loads and loads of apps that you can get on your phone. A handy one that I've got is Easy Watermark, EZY, which is really good for putting your logo on photographs before you sprinkle them on social media. You can also get hold of my free Design Success Toolkit for more tips, checklists and useful info to help you to achieve design success. And you can download the Touchpoint Circle, which is this. And what you do with this is, all those touch points on that list you made earlier, you stick them around the edge, or just the ones that you know you need to work on, and you set your values in the middle, and you can work outwards from the centre to work out what it is that you need to do. So it'll end up looking a bit like this, sliced up a bit like a cake, so that in each section you've got a different touch point at the top, and you can write in what it is that you need to do to make that change and be more consistent in your business. So hopefully you'll find that really helpful, and you'll come out of this process with at least one thing that you can do to be more consistent and to glue all of those touch points together. So I'd love to know what values you came up with and what changes you're going to make in your business to ensure that you have a consistent brand. So please let me know in the comments, that would be really great, and I'll see you for the next video next week.